Hello everyone and welcome back to English by Jaideep Singh YouTube channel. This is Jaideep Singh and in today's video we are going to learn how to be polite in case of request. When we request someone to do something, we should be polite in that case. And there are so many sentences that can be used to show your politeness. But remember one thing, when you speak these sentences, it really matters a lot because your tone of speaking should be polite. Your selection of words matter a lot. So in today's session, we will learn how to be polite in case of request. So here is the heading for today's video, guys: polite request, and you are going to love this session. Let's start today's session. So this is the heading for this video: how to be polite in case of request. And there is a heading video available on YouTube channel. That is why, because my dear students, the PDF of this session is available on my Telegram channel, English by Jaideep Singh. So you can get that PDF from my Telegram channel, English by Jaideep Singh. Let's start the session, my dear. The next slide is about use of modal verbs. As we all know, when we try to represent our intention, when we try to show our emotions, we always use modal verbs. So modal verbs, what? Modals are those helping verbs that are used to represent the intention of a speaker. So modal verbs can be used to show your request. And first of all, we are going to learn about can. Can is a modal helping verb, as we all know. And this can be used to ask someone to do something. For an example, can you do this work for me? Can you open the door? But remember one thing, this is the direct way to ask someone to do something. For an example, can you do this work for me? Can you open the door? This is a straightforward way, or we can say this is the direct way to ask someone to do something. So we should avoid using can. We should avoid using can in case of request. But this is the first way to ask someone to do something. So can you do this work for me? Can you do this work for me? Just like that you can speak. Or you can say, can you do this work for me? This is the tone. So because we always try to avoid using can in case of request. This is a straightforward way. So avoid it. The next sentence is, can you open the door? Can you open the door? This is the straightforward way. We can make it better by adding please after the statement. Can you do this work for me, please? Can you do this work for me, please? And please remember one thing, you have to work on your tone and you have to work on your face expressions while speaking English. So if you only use the polite words to represent the politeness, that is not enough. Your tone of speaking and your expressions matter a lot. So work on it. So please repeat with me. Repeat the sentences with me. Can you do this work for me, please? Can you open the door, please? Can you do this work for me, please? Can you open the door, please? So you can make it better by adding please after these statements. So this is the first way, and the second way is by adding please after the statement. This is the next slide. If you want to be more polite, there are two modal verbs that can be used. First one is could and the second one is would. So could and would can be used to be more polite. Could you do this work for me? Would you do this work for me? Could you open the door? Would you open the door? Just like that. Remember the face expressions and tone of speaking. Repeat the statements, please. Could you open the door for me? Could you do this work for me? Would you open the door for me? Would you do this work for me? So these are the statements can be used. So can, and then when you use can, then we can add please after the statement. Can you do this work for me? Second one, can you do this work for me, please? Third one, could you do this work for me? Fourth one, would you do this work for me? Next slide, my dear. Next slide is introductory phrase. Of course, this one is so interesting. If you want to be more polite, then we can use introductory phrase to the beginning of the statement. And that introductory phrase is, would you mind? Would you mind? Would you mind doing this work for me? Would you mind opening the door for me? Here, there is an important point that you should keep in your mind. The point is, when we use would you mind, then remember one thing, guys. We always use verb first form plus ing, that means gerund. After this phrase, we always use gerund. Never, never, never use to plus first form, that means infinitive. Never use infinitive after this phrase. This is not correct. For an example, would you mind to do this work for me? No. Would you mind doing this work for me? Would you mind opening the door for me? So remember that thing. You cannot use to open. You cannot use to do. Would you mind doing this work for me? Please, please, please repeat the statements with me, because there are a lot of students who want to speak English, who want to learn how to speak English without speaking. That is not possible, my dear. So please start speaking. Please repeat the statements with me. Are you ready, guys? Please repeat. Would you mind doing this work for me? Would you mind opening the door for me? Now your turn. Please repeat the statements. First one, very nice. The second one, very nice. This is the way. Now let's see what's new. The second phrase is, if it's okay with you. If it's okay with you, could we do this work now? If it's okay with you. That means if it is comfortable for you. If it's okay with you, or you can say if it is okay with you, could you do this work for me? Could you do this work for me? So if it is okay with you, could you help me do my work? If it's okay with you, could you help me do my work? Please repeat the statement. If it's okay with you, could you help me do my work? Just like that. So you can add if it's okay with you. That means if you are comfortable. Got it, guys? Next slide. There we go. If you get the chance, we can use this statement as well. If you get the chance, could you do the work for me? If you get the chance, could you send me that file? My dear students, now your turn. Please repeat the statements. First one, very nice. And the second one, great. Let's move. Next one is, when you have a minute, or when you get some time. When you get some time, could you do this work for me? When you have a minute, when you have a minute, when you have a minute means what? When you get some time, when you have a minute, when you have a minute, would you send me the file? When you get some time, could you do this work for me? This is the statement we can add to be more polite. Got it, guys? Let's move. There are some examples. There are some examples for you. And you will repeat these examples with me. Ready? Sure? There we go. Can I open the window in here? Can we sit here? Can I have 2 coffees and a Coke, please? Look, dear, when we talk about grammar section, we never use coffees. Coffee is considered as an uncountable noun. Matlab, coffee is an uncountable noun. We cannot make it plural. But here we are trying to represent the number of cups. Got it, guys? That is the reason when we talk about grammatical factors, we cannot consider all the grammatical factors while speaking. Because while speaking, our emotions, the conditions, the circumstances matter a lot. So here we used coffee, but to represent the number of cups. And a Coke, please. Can you help me? This is the straightforward way. Can you help me? Or could you help me? Would you help me? Could you help me do my work? Could you help me do my work? Would you help me? Got it, guys? Next one. Next one. Can you tell me the time, please? Can you tell me the time, please? Next one. Repeat, please repeat the statements. Can I have the menu? Can you pass me the newspaper? Or could you pass me the newspaper? Would you pass me the newspaper? Next one. Can she sit next to me? Can we pay you now? Let's move. Next one is, could you help me for a minute, please? And dear, remember one thing. If you want to add please, we can use please with could and with can as well. Got it? So could you help me for a minute, please? Would you please email that document to me? I need it as soon as possible. Got it, guys? Next one. Could you explain that again, please? Could you explain that again, please? And remember one thing. You cannot say, could you repeat that again? You cannot use again with repeat, because repeat itself explain the meaning of again. So my dear, please do not use again with repeat, because we always make that mistake. Can you repeat it again? Could you repeat it again? Would you repeat it again? Nop. So when you use repeat, never use again there. It will be considered as a superfluous expression. Superfluous means what? Beyond what is needed. Superfluous means what? Beyond what is needed. And when we use recall back, nop. Return back, nop. Repeat again, nop. Superfluous. So these expressions are called superfluous expressions. So repeat itself explains the meaning of again. So please do not use again with repeat. So could you repeat that? Could you repeat that? Or could you explain that again? Could you explain that again, please? I didn't understand. Got it? Next one. If we if we say, can you hold my books? Can you hold my books for me? My hands are full. My hands are full. My hands are full. So can you hold my books for me? So if you want to use this statement before that statement, you can do so. My hands are full. Suppose you are carrying a lot of things and you say, my hands are full. My hands are full. Can you hold my books? Could you hold my books, or would you hold my books? Got it? Next one. Would you mind holding my books? If it's okay with you, could you hold my books? Anything. Next one. Could you please close the door? Could you please close the door? And if you want to use please just before the verb, you can do so. And if you want to use please at the end of the statement, you can do so. Just like that. Could you close the door, please? Could you please close the door? Got it? Next one. Can you pass the salt, please? Could you bring your book tomorrow? Can you pass the juice? Next one. Can you turn off the AC? Can you turn off the AC? Could you pass the juice, please? Could you help me with my homework? Would you mind closing the door? And remember, dear, don't say, would you mind to close the door? We do not use infinitive after the phrase, would you mind? Would you mind closing the door? Would you mind what? Closing the door. Would you mind closing the door? Would you mind turning down the radio? Would you mind turning off the music? So these were the examples for you guys. Got it? Now I'm going to speak in Hindi. देखो डियर, मैंने आपको प्रॉमिस किया था कि जब भी मैं आपको स्पोकन का कोई भी सेशन दूंगा, सो मैं इंग्लिश बहुत ज़्यादा यूज़ करूंगा. एंड देर आर अ नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स जो मुझसे हमेशा कहते हैं, सर कि इंग्लिश थोड़ी थोड़ी कम समझ आती है. वी वॉन्ट टू लर्न हाउ टू स्पीक इंग्लिश, बट थोड़ा थोड़ा समझ आता है, थोड़ा थोड़ा नहीं आता. देखो डियर, जब तक आप सुनना स्टार्ट नहीं करोगे ना, तब तक आपका इंटरेस्ट नहीं बनेगा. दैट इज वाई अब तक जितना भी मैंने सेशन आपका लिया, मैंने वहां एक भी हिंदी वर्ड यूज नहीं किया. जान पूछकर सुनने की आदत डालो, सीखने की आदत डालो, तब जाके आप कामयाब बनोगे. तब जाके आप जो है इंग्लिश को बोलना सीख पाओगे. इन्हीं चीजों को बाइलिंगुअल में यूज करना फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल सीखो. पहले सर्वाइवल इंग्लिश सीखो. सर्वाइवल इंग्लिश मीन्स व्हाट? बाइलिंगुअल. इफ यू यूज सम इंग्लिश स्टेटमेंट्स, then use some Hindi statements, then use some English statements, just like that. Try to be comfortable. Don't be shy. शर्माना नहीं है, सिर्फ फ्लो में बोलने की कोशिश करनी, और कभी घबराना नहीं कि कोई क्या कहेगा. ये चीज आपको अंदर ही अंदर खोखला बना देगी, और आप कभी भी अपने अंदर इतना कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं लेके आ पाओगे कि आप इंग्लिश बोल पाए. So, ये सेशंस यूं ही आते रहेंगे, और इन सेशंस की डियर आपके पास प्लेलिस्ट आपको यूट्यूब चैनल इंग्लिश बाय जयदीप सिंह, ऑफकोर्स आपके यूट्यूब चैनल इंग्लिश बाय जयदीप सिंह पर आपको इसकी प्लेलिस्ट मिल जाएगी. सो ये आपके लिए होमवर्क है, और इसकी पीडीएफ आपको मेरी टेलीग्राम चैनल पर भी मिल जाएगी. सो ये सारी जो पीडीएफ जितनी भी सेंटेंसेज है, ये टेलीग्राम चैनल पर भी पोलाइट रिक्वेस्ट की आपको पीडीएफ मिल जाएगी. सो माई पॉइंट इज गाइस, माई पॉइंट इज कि सेशंस से आपको इंग्लिश बोलना नहीं आएगा. दीज सेशंस विल हेल्प यू आउट, बट करना तो आपको ही पड़ेगा. सेशंस आपकी बहुत सारी मदद करेंगे, करना तो आपको ही पड़ेगा. बहुत से स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो मेरे साथ रिपीट करते हैं सेंटेंसेस को, बट बहुत से स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो सेंटेंसेस को रिपीट नहीं करते, बिकॉज दे आर दोज स्टूडेंट्स हु वांट टू लर्न इंग्लिश बट विदाउट स्पीकिंग. They want to learn how to speak English, but without speaking. That is impossible, not possible. So please start speaking. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आप सुनना स्टार्ट करो, फिर आहिस्ता आहिस्ता चीज़ों को रिपीट करना स्टार्ट करो. सो आज आपके लिए कुछ होमवर्क पार्ट भी रहना है. होमवर्क पार्ट क्या है? यू हैव टू मेक एटलीस्ट 20 sentences by using these methods to make a request and how to be polite in case of request. You have to make at least 20 sentences, my dear students. Please आपको 20 sentences बनाने हैं. और आप कुछ sentences कमेंट में डालना चाहे बिल्कुल डालें, बहुत अच्छा होगा, क्योंकि जो बाकी स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो कमेंट्स को रीड करेंगे उनको भी नए नए सेंटेंसेस मिलेंगे और वो रिपीट करना स्टार्ट कर देंगे. एंड प्लीज माय डियर स्टूडेंट्स, इस सेशन को जितना मैक्सिमम हो सके शेयर करो ताकि हर किसी तक ये फ्री सेशंस पहुंच पाए. अगर आपको मेरा बैच ज्वाइन करना है तो स्पोकन इंग्लिश के लिए बैच भी मैं बेहद जल्द लेकर आ रहा हूँ. 15 से 20 जो है मई तक आ जाएगा वो बैच. अगर आप ज्वाइन करना चाहते हैं तो आप बैच वो ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं, जिसका पोस्टर आपको दिखाई दे रहा है. ये स्पोकन इंग्लिश का बैच होता है जो हमारी ऐप कैरियर ऐप पर आपको मिलता है. सो आप उस हमारी ऐप को डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं और ये बैच आपका 15th या 20th मई तक आ जाएगा. सो बेस्ट ऑफ लक माय डियर स्टूडेंट्स एंड प्लीज स्टार्ट स्पीकिंग. शर्माना, एक अंदर कॉन्फिडेंस की कमी होना, इन सब से बाहर आओ. आहिस्ता आहिस्ता आप मुझे बोलता सुनोगे, रिपीट करना स्टार्ट करोगे, कॉन्फिडेंस अपने आप बढ़ता चला जाएगा. और आप सभी से रिक्वेस्ट है, जिसने यूट्यूब चैनल इंग्लिश बाय जयदीप सिंह को, हमारे इस फैमिली को ज्वाइन नहीं किया हो, वो अभी के अभी चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करो, बेल आइकन को प्रेस करो ताकि नोटिफिकेशंस तुरंत आपके पास पहुंचे, जल्द से जल्द पहुंचे. और जो भी आपको होमवर्क मिले, आप सभी से मेरी रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप उस होमवर्क को करो. जब तक आप एक अच्छे लर्नर नहीं बनेंगे ना, तब तक आप एक अच्छे स्पीकर नहीं बनेंगे. क्योंकि कोई भी चीज करने से पहले सीखना बहुत जरूरी है और इस लाइफ में हम हमेशा सीखते रहते हैं. सो प्लीज इस नॉलेज को बांटें. सेशन को जितना मैक्सिमम हो सके, आई एम रिपीटिंग माई वर्ड्स, उतना आप मैक्सिमम इसे शेयर करें. कर भला सो हो भला. अब आपसे मुलाकात होगी हमारे सेशन नंबर 3 में. ये हमारा सेकंड सेशन था बेसिकली, जो स्पीकिंग पर बेस्ड था. इन सेशन से क्या होगा, आपको नॉलेज बढ़ती चली जाएगी, प्लस ना आपका इंटरेस्ट डेवलप होता चला जाएगा कि मुझे भी इंग्लिश बोलना वाकई में सीखना है. सो आपको एक छोटी सी चीज में इंफॉर्मेशन दे दूं. जब आप जाते हैं, जब आप देखते हैं यूट्यूब इंग्लिश बाय जयदीप सिंह, आप ये यूट्यूब चैनल जब आप ओपन करते हैं, सो आप जैसे ही चैनल पर जाते हैं आपको प्लेलिस्ट का एक ऑप्शन दिखाई देता है. आप इस प्लेलिस्ट में जब देखेंगे तो आपको एक प्लेलिस्ट दिखाई देगी. सबसे पहले फ्री स्पोकन इंग्लिश सेशंस बाय जयदीप सर. ये है वो प्लेलिस्ट जिसमें आप ऑलरेडी देख रहे हैं एक सेशन अपलोड भी है. देख पा रहे हैं ना आप, एक सेशन इसमें अपलोड भी है. सो इसी तरीके से सेशंस यहाँ पर आएंगे. अभी एक शो कर रहा है, आज ये सेकंड सेशन था, ये अपडेट हो जाएगा, फिर यहाँ पे 2 शो करेगा और हम इसको ऐसे ही चलाते रहेंगे. सो माय डियर स्टूडेंट्स, आप सभी के लिए मेरी बेस्ट विशेस हैं. अगर आप सीखना चाहते हैं तो 100% आपको स्पीकिंग आएगी. जहां चाह है वहां राह है. सो इफ यू रियली वांट टू बी अ गुड स्पीकर, इफ यू रियली वांट टू बी अ गुड स्पीकर, प्लीज स्टार्ट स्पीकिंग इन इंग्लिश ओनली. सो वो लोग आपको रोकने की कोशिश करेंगे, हर नेगेटिव लोग आपको रोकने की कोशिश करेगा, आपको रुकना नहीं. बाय बाय, टेक केयर. मिलते हैं जल्दी हमारे इस प्यारी सी एक प्लेलिस्ट में एक नेक्स्ट सेशन के साथ. और सेशन कैसा लगा कमेंट्स में जरूर बताना. बाय बाय, टेक केयर, बाय बाय.